Chapter 13. A Confluence of Rivers.
Do you like what you see?
Cato shot upright in his chair with a shrill gasp as if he had been doused with a bucket of ice-cold water. Panic took a hold of him until he realized he was still in his dank and dark basement.
Lady Maya!
The sight of her immediately forced him to gather his composure.
How long have you been sitting here?
She twisted her lips and shrugged.
Who knows? Haven't really been keeping track of time.
She placed an elbow on the table and lazily rested her head against the palm of her hand. Cato glanced at the candle that was already burned to a stump and figured it must have been close to 2 hours since the conclusion of his team's meeting.
What brings you back here?
I never left.
His face contorted to a wrinkled frown.
Okay.
He said pensively.
So, what have you been doing in the meantime?
She shrugged again with her head still resting against her palm.
Staring, mostly.
She said, and kept staring at him with a quizzical smile as if she were gawking at some strange and exciting exotica. His frown never wavered, and he was beginning to wonder if he really did return to reality, or if he was somehow still dreaming. The puzzlement on his face seemed to amuse her a great deal, but he only saw the eyes that twinkled like stars in the faint candlelight.
Congratulations on your brother's betrothal,
he finally said, not knowing anything better to say, and walked over to the stove to make a fresh batch of tea. Her eyes followed him to the other side of the room, but she made no further effort to adjust her posture.
Yeah. Who would have thought, right?
Seriously,
He muttered and impatiently waited for the water to boil. From the corner of his eye, he saw that she was still staring at him with a peculiar smile on her face.
Do you always sleep with your eyes open?
The suddenness of the question made him turn his head, but as soon as he stared into her colourful gems, he hastily turned back to the kettle.
Who said I was sleeping?
She grinned and gave the candle a quick glance.
Then you have just been staring at me for the better part of 2 hours, without saying a word. Hence my initial question, do you like what you see?
He turned crimson red and was glad that she couldn't see the embarrassment on his face.
Maybe I did doze off then.
It must have been a nice dream.
Cato thought about it for a moment. He couldn't remember anything from the past 2 hours, but at least he wasn't visited by the twins.
I guess you're right.
He responded with a careful smile on his face. He took the kettle by the handle and brought it back to the table.
You look like you have something on your mind.
He said, and couldn't help noticing the delightful scent of lemon blossoms when he hunched over her to reach for Peyton's unused cup. He poured the tea and inadvertently stared into her mesmerizing eyes again. It made him feel things he shouldn't already be feeling.
As do you.
He chuckled, filled both cups to the brim, and slumped back into his chair.
There are many things on my mind.
That seemed to spark a clear interest in her eyes.
Oh? Anything in particular?
Mostly you at this very moment.
He answered truthfully, but quickly realized how his words must have come across, and forced himself to rein in his flirtation. Their gaze, however, never broke off.
I mean, us. Wait, no, that's not right either.
He pinched the bridge of his nose with a sigh. The sight of her beauty had rendered him a babbling fool.
Pardon me. I'm afraid I haven't been myself as of late. Usually I am a bit more nimble-tongued than this.
Oh, I bet you are, Lord Cato.
She said, teasing him with a playful grin.
I bet you are.
He laughed, awkwardly burying half his face inside his palm.
Case in point,
He muttered and shook off his embarrassment.
Look, I've been told to be your preceptor of some sorts, and truthfully, I'm not certain how to feel about it. Surely you have thoughts of your own about this whole situation, and I just want to make sure neither of us are jumping into a river against our will.
Her playful grin remained exactly as it was.
That is very considerate of you, Master.
He responded with a sound that was split in the middle between a chuckle and a scoff.
What exactly have you been told, Lady Maya?
She blew away the steam from her cup with a faint whistling sound and kept her lips pouted for a second.
The Grand Master told me that our destinies are entwined.
Her words were delivered with such nonchalance that they flew over Cato's head and circled a couple of times before finally making their landing. He almost choked on his scorching hot beverage once he processed what had been said.
Excuse me, what?
He pounded his chest and coughed into his elbow. His entire face turned red.
Entwined? What are you saying? Did he actually say that?
She seemed to take pleasure in seeing him struggle to find his composure.
Well, I don't recall his exact words. You know better than most how he can be.
She twisted her lips and raised her eyes to the ceiling.
I think he said something about currents and streams, something about a confluence of rivers, and then some metaphorical blah blah about clouds, seas, mountains, and whatnot.
Right,
He said, thoughtfully nodding his head.
that does sound like him.
The Grandmaster told me that tomorrow brings smiles. Now, I don't know what he exactly meant by that, but I do like the sound of it. And so far, he hasn't been wrong.
She paused and pointed at her own face.
See?
Cato also began smiling at the sight of her infectious smile. Even if he hadn't answered her initial question, it was clear that he did indeed like what he was seeing.
What else am I to do, you know? We're all just killing time until time finally decides to kill us. There was no grand design for me after I graduated from the academy. Might as well jump in the river and see where the current will take me. You can't escape your destiny, Maya Bloodthorn. That's what Master Hana said to me recently.
Cato lowered his eyes and glanced at the lines in his palms.
She did, huh?
Yep. So you see, Master, we are bound to each other.
Don't.
He began, but promptly stopped himself from continuing.
You seem quite content with that.
She laughed.
Excited would be more accurate, really.
Really?
He raised an eyebrow, took a sip from his tea, and leaned back into his chair.
Of course. I have heard so many stories about the illustrious Cato Knight. I'm very eager to learn.
Are you now? And what is it that you hope to learn from me?
No idea.
She answered in a carefree manner.
About life, I guess.
Life? That's rather broad, wouldn't you say?
He shook his head with a laugh and emptied his cup in one go.
If you say so.
She grabbed the kettle and started filling his empty cup.
I would say that life is only as broad as you make it to be.
Fair enough.
He said and thanked her for the gesture with a courteous nod.
What about you? Do you oppose the idea of accepting me as your pupil?
He thought about it for a moment and started tapping the rim of his cup with the ring on his finger.
No, I wouldn't say oppose.
He finally said.
A bit apprehensive, perhaps. I'm just not sure what to expect. I mean, it's all very sudden and we are about to dive straight into a mission without even knowing each other.
Well, that's easily solved.
She said, reaching out her hand, smiling her prettiest smile.
Maya Bloodthorn.
He stared back for less than a second, but that fraction of time seemed to last an eternity. Without giving it too much thought, he took her hand and smiled back.
Cato Knight.
The touch of her palm immediately caught his attention. It felt coarse and was riddled with tiny cuts that were still in the process of healing. That struck him as odd. Next to their ability to shapeshift into monstrous beings, members from the Bloodthorn clan were known for their near-instant restoration.
So, let's get acquainted then.
She continued in high spirits.
I'll ask you one question about you. You'll answer it, truthfully if you feel like it, and then ask me one about me in return.
Sure. Sounds fair.
She squeezed her face into a playful grin.
Who is Cato Knight, and what gives him reason to breathe?
He flinched, sank deeper into his chair, and burst into laughter.
Well, that was unexpected.
He started tapping his fingers on the table and retreated to his thoughts for a moment.
Those are 2 questions, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, oops.
She said, but did little else with that information. He scoffed and plucked a plaque of candle wax from the table, flattened the lukewarm goo with both thumbs, then tore off the rougher edges until the wax became a smooth disc. He held it above the candlelight and the wax came dripping back on the table.
Cato Knight is who Cato of Moonshield always dreamed of becoming. His reason to breathe is the same as anyone else's, I imagine, which, of course, is to find happiness.
What a wonderfully vague answer. You must be a diplomat.
She teased.
But if finding happiness is your reason to breathe, wouldn't that mean you no longer have a reason to do so once you have found your happiness?
On the contrary, my lady, I'd like to think that once I have found true happiness, life itself becomes the very reason to breathe, and I would spend the remainder of my life living in bliss.
She grinned and wrinkled her nose.
That does sound like a beautiful dream worth chasing. I'm dying to know, though, what would be the happiness to bring you such bliss?
He shrugged.
Who even knows what they truly want in life anyway? Some people desire absolute power. Others desire infinite wealth. And the remaining fools desire everlasting love.
She placed her forearms on the table and leaned in attentively.
Do you have someone you love?
He winced and averted his eyes.
Isn't it supposed to be my turn to ask you a question already?
She ignored whatever he said and kept her eyes intensely fixed on him.
I don't even know what love is anymore,
he said after a moment of silence, surprising even himself with his willingness to touch upon this subject.
I thought I did, but then I didn't. You know what I mean? What is love, Lady Maya?
Is that your question for me?
Sure.
Oh, I know what love is, Lord Cato. It is the uncontrollable urge to dismiss your good senses and to surrender yourself completely to someone who is willing to do the same for you in return.
A somber smile crawled onto his face.
Sounds like you have found yours then.
She chuckled, but not with joy this time.
I guess it depends on the perspective.
He snickered and filled both cups to the edge.
Here's to dead romance,
he said with his cup raised and waited for her to mirror the gesture and clank the porcelain. She twisted her lips and shook her head.
Nope, too bleak for me. How about to new beginnings instead?
He raised an eyebrow but then laughed.
Sure, I like that,
he said.
To new beginnings it is then.
She raised her cup and emptied the drink in one big gulp.
Got anything stronger, master?
Will you stop calling me your master already?
Why?
He stood up with a laborious sigh, walked over to his cabinet, and returned with a bottle of Malaki vintage and 2 crystal glasses.
Ooh, fancy.
A gift from King Ephra.
Even fancier.
He uncorked the bottle and poured the liquid gold into the glasses with great care.
For the very same reason I don't want Raven calling me master. It doesn't feel right. The title creates a distance between us.
And we don't want that.
He stopped in his tracks and froze for a second, but almost immediately afterward let a chuckle escape.
No, we don't, Lady Maya,
he said and sat back down. It stayed quiet for a while as he, once again, started to lose himself inside her kaleidoscopic eyes. She just stared back at him with a curious smile, seemingly at ease with the prolonged moment of silence. Out of nowhere, a crazy thought popped into his head, telling him that he wouldn't mind staring at those beautiful gems for the rest of his life. It made him feel a bit uneasy, perhaps even guilty. The future he foresaw with Aisha Celestine only ended a little over a few days ago. His heart should still be weeping for the loss, but the truth was that it wasn't. Not anymore.
Okay, next question,
she said, taking a small nip from her glass.
If I can't call you master, can I call you captain instead?
It still creates a distance between us, doesn't it?
Well, perhaps you can see it as a term of endearment then.
If you really insist.
He conceded with a wave of his hand.
I guess it's better than any other terms of endearment I've ever been given.
Oh?
Her smile broadened to a grin.
Care to share them with me, Cap?
He nipped from his glass before taking a bigger gulp immediately afterward.
My classmates at the academy used to call me the Lord of Nothing. You might have heard it from your brother before. I always loved that title for the accuracy. It really embodies my rich heritage. Then you have Son of the Sunset, which is what one of the teachers at the academy used to call me.
Sounds mysterious. What does it mean?
He shrugged.
It can be interpreted in numerous ways, I'm sure.
Which teacher called you by that name? Do I know him?
Her,
he said quietly.
And I don't think you do.
What makes you say that?
He started tapping his fingers on the table to an erratic rhythm.
She's been dead for 10 years now.
Maya raised her eyes to the ceiling and bit her lip in contemplation.
You must be talking about Lady Minari, then.
He stared at her with a frown, but then lowered his eyes to the candlelight.
I guess I was wrong.
It's not very hard to figure out. Only 2 teachers from the academy have passed away in the past 10 years, and only one of them was female.
She took a sip from her drink and sighed.
She died at the academy, didn't she? A tragic death from what I've heard. Some say her spirit still roams the corridors of Ethelwomb, and on stormy nights you can hear her wailing along with the wind.
What a load of shit.
He muttered.
What's that now?
Nothing.
He kept tapping his fingers on the table, a lot slower now, but still in an irregular rhythm. His demeanour turned sullen all of a sudden.
Lady Maya, do you honestly think I'm a suitable teacher for you? You say you want to learn about life, but I'm only a few years older than you. So, what life experience could you possibly hope to gain with me that you couldn't on your own?
He paused to give her the opportunity to respond, but she only stared back and answered in silence.
Look, I've read your report. You graduated from the academy as the top student of your class. The report says you're a witty conversationalist, a shrewd tactician, and a highly skilled warrior.
Oh, please don't stop now, Cap. This is music to my ears.
Right. Supposedly you have an excellent read on people, and you also seem to possess a unique ability I haven't really been able to figure out yet. You appeared in my basement out of nowhere. No one sneaks up on me like that. The report calls it dimensional manipulation, but that's rather abstract, isn't it? On top of all that, you're a bloodthorn.
What's that supposed to mean?
Isn't it obvious? The Bloodthorn clan is among the noblest of all noble houses. Your family is pretty much royalty, and I am
Cato of Moonshield? Just an orphan with no significance attached to his name?
He flinched. Hearing those words coming from her mouth felt more truthful somehow, and therefore more hurtful. So much so that it stunted his thoughts momentarily.
I am a master of Onira, Lord Cato.
He still heard Aisha say.
Cap, do you believe in hierarchy?
What's there to believe? It exists, doesn't it?
Fair enough, but do you believe in the importance of it?
To a certain extent, sure. Without some form of structure, all civilization crumbles to chaos eventually.
She smiled and emptied her glass in one go.
And yet, you have this wonderfully chaotic dynamic with your subordinates.
Her smile broadened to a grin as she bent over the table to reach for the bottle of vintage, never once taking her eyes off him.
Blondie calls you Lord Cato, but then talks to you as if you were her nagging brother.
Blondie, huh?
Yep.
She said, filling both glasses to the edge.
Love her hair, by the way.
He let out a sigh.
I have always taught Rain to speak without restraint, and to never allow herself to be placed beneath anyone else, regardless of social status. In the end, we are all the same.
I couldn't agree more,
She said, nodding her head contentedly.
Whether it's Bloodthorn, Seraphine, Knight, or even a nameless orphan, we're all just human.
It's different.
Different how?
For one, I am not supposed to be Rain's teacher.
And yet, you do instill your teachings into her.
He shrugged.
I guess I'm more like her nagging brother.
She giggled, took a few sips from her glass, and then laughed.
Marcus has told me a great deal about you. He even went as far as to call you his greatest...
Nemesis?
She slammed her fist on the table with a bang.
Exactly! His greatest nemesis!
He did?
No, of course not. My brother looks up to you as his rival, sure, but first and foremost, calls you his greatest friend.
I find that quite difficult to believe. I'm pretty sure he doesn't look up to me in any way at all. Marcus and we have a bit of a history together.
Believe whatever you want, Cap. I'm just telling you what he told me. But you know what? Forget about Marcus. Who cares what he thinks? Father respects you and Mother thinks the world of you. It's rare to hear them talk about someone with such high praise. I'm sure their opinion is worth a lot more than my brother's.
Cato nodded along thoughtfully.
They should know that the feeling is completely mutual.
I'm sure they are aware.
It remained quiet for a while as they once again got locked inside each other's gaze.
What about you?
He finally said to end the silence.
What about me?
What are your impressions of me so far?
He couldn't believe he actually felt nervous asking her the question. It shouldn't matter what she thought of him. And yet, nothing else seemed more important at that moment than to obtain her validation. He was lucky his experience as an emissary had taught him how to conceal his emotions, but as Principal Aaron's report already stated, Maya had an excellent read on people. She placed her elbow on the table and lazily rested her head against her palm again. Seeing the nervousness in his eyes seemed to fill her face with glee, though the wine also made a fair share of contribution. She stayed quiet for a while and just studied him in silence. Her stare only seemed to amplify his anxiety, and if Maya were to possess the sensory abilities of her brother, she would have heard the chaotic drumming inside Cato's chest.
You fascinate me, Cap,
She casually said, gliding a finger along the rim of her glass. Her eyes sparkled when she saw that the compliment brought joy to his demeanour. He did his utmost best to suppress the expression, but the failed attempt only further increased her amusement.
It's true. You were staring at me for 2 hours, and I stared back without saying a word. Make of that what you will.
She gave him a wink, drained her glass, and slumped into her chair with a contented sigh.
Yep.
She said, hiding a subtle belch behind her hand.
Time for bed, then.
Cato laughed and shook his head before taking a few sips himself.
You really are something else, Lady Maya,
He said, still chuckling.
Just make sure you return here on time, all right? As much as I enjoy your presence, we will leave when the sun comes up. With or without you.
Uh-huh.
She said.
So which bedroom is mine?
I'm sorry?
Don't say sorry unless you have something to apologize for.
I'm sorry, but I wasn't made aware you would stay for the night. Hence, my apologies for not having an extra bed for you at the ready.
Nice save, Cap.
Wouldn't it be easier for you to do some of your dimensional manipulation, vanish back to Mengarovi, and reappear here at sunrise?
Doesn't really work like that, but it's not going to happen either way. See, whether I get to call you master or not, I'm still told to be your shadow for as long as it takes, and I do treat my assignments with utmost severity.
My shadow, huh?
He swirled his forefinger aimlessly at the ceiling.
You can pick any bedroom you like, but there is only one with an actual bed in it. Sleep there if you want.
She lowered her head and stared at him with a dangerous smirk.
Lord Cato, is that how you talk to all ladies? We've just met.
He grinned and emptied his glass.
Lady Maya, your insinuation entices me as much as it offends me. I too treat my assignments with utmost severity. There is still work to do before we head out in the morning.
So what? You don't sleep?
Good night, Lady Maya. I will see you in the morning.